Because the truth is, when a person has dementia, there are still so many possibilities of having a wonderful life, even if they're in a very advanced stage.
Mm. Hey everybody, Ken from Home Instead here. Thanks so much for joining me again today, and Happy New Year, our first episode of the new year. Today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Dr. Jytte Lokvig. She is an Alzheimer's and dementia expert here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. She's been on a few previous episodes, so you may already be a little acquainted with her and what she does. But her and I are part of a wonderful team of experts that are working together on the Dementia Possibilities Conference that will be happening February 8th through the 12th online via Zoom. You can find information about the conference at dementiapossibilities.com. And I brought Jytte on today to talk a bit about the conference and all of the wonderful things that she does for the caregiving community. And so, hi, Jytte, how are you today?
I'm good, Ken. How are you?
I'm good. I know that you and I actually, we've already hung out a little bit today. We're coming off of a planning meeting that we had early this morning. But since then, how's your day been? Have you been enjoying your day?
And I went to another Zoom meeting and with another group. So of course I was talking about our conference. And by the way, one reaction I get from people, and I totally understand it, when I tell them that the conference is from February 8th through the 12th, they go, "What?" I mean, like,
Yeah, it's a
are
big deal.
we going to sleep in or what? Right. So I put them at ease by saying it's only a couple hours a day, so don't freak out.
Yeah, we've had a lot of chats about that. I mean, we're trying to give people a lot of really great resources and a lot of great information, but take it at a pace that is reasonable and doesn't defeat the purpose, right? Because we want to give caregivers respite and, not only practical means, that they can employ with care options and things, but just day-to-day ways to take a breath and get away a little bit, from the sometimes overwhelming nature of things, caring for a loved one with dementia.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, so don't be overwhelmed by
Right.
the fact that it's a several day conference. You can really, we're going to set it up in a way that you can really pick and choose what workshops you want to engage in, and if you want to take a break from one, we're going to archive it later online, so it'll be available for people. It's going to be a really great thing. But with this being the first episode of the new year, I guess I should say Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you. Same to you.
um, do you make
It's like,
resolutions? Are you a person that makes
what was that?
resolutions, or do you not play around with that stuff?
No, I learned a long time ago that they don't work too well. They don't work too well.
I think, yeah, it's probably all in how you in how much pressure you put on yourself around them, right? I think it probably could be a healthy thing, but I honestly don't really do it myself. I fall into some ideas every once in a while around the start of a year, just with the idea of like what kind of things would I like to do more as a person to be, all that I would want to be for the people around me and things. But yeah, don't put too much pressure on ourselves for sure.
The resolutions are always things that are very hard to achieve anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do. Like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds by June, right? Yeah, right.
Oh man.
Yeah, or whatever. So we're not being kind to ourselves when it comes to that. And I think you and
Yeah.
I, because I know you, friend, really well, uh, we just we're constantly sort of updating what we need to do and where we want to go with it and how to work with it, because we work with the same people.
Yeah.
How are we going to help them? So it's a constant thing. It's not a resolution.
Yeah. Yeah, and life is an ongoing project, and we do need to be patient with ourselves. We don't just want to give ourselves a new reason to be hard on ourselves, throughout the year. But I heard something the other day that I thought was really, really great, and I don't know if the wording was exactly in this way, but the general concept brought me to a place of saying, let's work on ourselves from a position of affection rather than a position of aggression. Like, I think a lot of times we think that aggression toward negative habits or things we want to change is the way that we're going to produce change, but that's not nearly as fruitful
Right.
as loving ourselves here and now the way that we are, and then
Mhm.
working from there. Like, it doesn't need to be a place of aggression.
Right, right. And that also leads into loving others, loving, you know,
Yeah,
including the earth. I mean, it's just that's connected.
absolutely.
Where it's like you said, if you go into the negative, that also connects to other negatives, and then we get all stressed out, and that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. Well, there's our advice on New Year's resolutions for everybody out there. uh, but for speaking of the conference, first off, Dementia Possibilities. That is a really, really striking and different name. I love it. Let's talk a bit about what is behind the name. I think it initially does a lot to destigmatize the topic and create an appropriate air of hope, for people that are living
Mhm,
with the
mhm.
reality of dementia. What do you
Exactly.
think of when you think of that name for the conference?
Well, let me first tell you how it came about. I think you were part of that conversation, actually. We had a conference in 2019 that went really well. I was very excited about it. And then COVID happened. We had just started like about 6 weeks before COVID really hit hard. Uh, we had started talking about the next one that we were going to do live in a wonderful location. And then we found ourselves, oh no, it ain't going to work. What are we going to do? And so we were bouncing ideas around, and somebody in the group said, well, let's look into the realm of possibilities.
Hmm.
And that's how Dementia Possibilities came about. Somebody else said, that's a great name. So there we are. And to me, it really it opens it up, because the truth is, when a person has dementia, there are still so many possibilities of having a wonderful life, even if they're in a very advanced stage.
Hmm.
We tend to focus, unfortunately, on disabilities, and we forget
Hmm.
that people may still have wonderful abilities.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I think that
so that's, a big part of our focus as a whole group is actually on that abilities.
that's great. I love that. I absolutely love it. I think that sometimes we think that in order to have quality of life, there needs to be some sort of degree of complexity to the things that we enjoy, which actually
Right.
simplicity is where a lot of the gold lies.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and so yeah, I love it. I love Dementia Possibilities. It's a fantastic name. So tell me a little bit about the team that you've brought together for this upcoming conference and what you're hoping to accomplish. Now, I know that when somebody asks a question like that, you're probably afraid that you're going to miss somebody and not mention them. But just, what are some of the topics that we're going to be covering that get you really excited? And, feel free to give some shout outs. No one's going to get their feelings hurt. But what are you excited about? And tell us about the team that you brought together.
Well, first, I'm not going to name them all, but we have 12 professionals, experts in their own fields, involved in this. And I love it because it's a gamut. We have people who are directors of care facilities.
Mhm.
We have people who are, you in your case, you're with Homestead, you know,
Mhm.
and then we also have artists. We have musicians. That's you. You have wear two hats, and and we have one person who is a director of Memory Cafe up in Farmington. She runs a wonderful program, so she's involved. We have one friend from Colorado who
Mhm.
just somehow got involved years ago, and we kept her around because she's fantastic, and many of us, not only whatever expertise we have in our professional fields, we also have personal interests.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the most amazing team because we really run the gamut. We
I
run the
agree.
gamut of ideas, yeah, and inspiration, and very practical advice. And I love to give people something that's really concrete that they can practice immediately and see success.
Yeah.
So in my case, I specialize in communication and caregiving skills. And that sounds kind of formal, but I'm not. As you know, I'm not a formal person. And uh, we are going to spend some time on that, and we're going to. I'm teaming up with another person who's we've known each other for over 20 years in the same field, but between us, we don't always agree. We're not zombies. We don't always agree, but we come from the same place, and we've been very successful with what we do, and we're going to share with
So,
everybody who wants to participate.
so wait a minute, Jytte, are you saying that in this day and age, you found a way to work with someone that you don't always agree with and you're okay with it?
How about that?
There's a lesson in and of itself right there. Like
There
that's a
you go. I know. I know.
like we could just end the show right now. I think that we've already given enough great things away. Like,
Right, right. And we even, when we see each other in person again, we'll hug. I know that because we
yeah,
do it often. But like I said, we also can argue, and we love each other, and
that's
we love the work that we do. And I think that's part of our connection is that we share an incredible passion and love for what we do.
as you're going
And
through
her
that
name, by
list
the
of
way,
people, and we weren't even calling out names and giving specific shout outs, but as you're talking over that list of people, I'm picturing the individuals that you're speaking about, and it is just a fantastic group. I mean, I think that like in our planning meetings that we have, sometimes there are bits of knowledge that are dropped that are just a huge blessing. It's such a blessing to be just part of the group, and get to spend the
Mhm.
time with everyone in putting this thing together. And you can tell that everyone's heart is in a beautiful place when it comes to their desire to want to bring something to the table that's going to be of real benefit for people that are living with the lots of different challenges that come with living in a caregiving role, the challenges that come with living with dementia. That's one of the things that's probably unique about this conference as well, is that we are opening the door to everyone. We want the people who are living with different stages of dementia to come, and we're going to have
Mhm.
activities and engagement designed to help them to feel included, because that is so important that we we get rid of that, the things that can contribute to isolation, with people who are living with dementia. I mean, and I know I'm speaking your language there because you run the Alzheimer's Cafe. You've been doing that for years, and that's really, I mean, from what I gather, that's really your mission, right?
Right, right, right. And it's both. Is like the people who are living with dementia and everybody in their lives
Yeah.
to get everybody on the same page and to bring it out in the open. And like you said in the very beginning, to destigmatize these disorders.
Yeah. I think that it's
Which
really
is one of the reasons
valuable.
I started the Alzheimer's Cafe.
It's kind of it's almost funny to me that, I mean, because as you're saying that, I mean, I'm thinking of the fact that like that's going to be something that we're going to be working on for the long haul. Destigmatizing things of this nature. And it's kind of funny because I think that the reason that we have to destigmatize things is because we live in a culture that tends to live in denial.
Mhm.
And so, destigmatizing is really kind of just like inviting people into reality that everybody lives with different types of issues and it's okay. Like we're going to be okay. Let's come together. Let's not live in denial of the fact that we all have different types of things in our lives that can be difficult, but let's learn how to cope together with hope, and it's really good stuff. So speaking of coping, we've all certainly been in the midst of this pandemic for the long haul at this point. We're so many months in, and I'm not sure any of us really anticipated it being, something that would last this long when things started out. But what are some of the major ongoing issues that you see arising or continuing within the caregiving community that folks are facing? And what are some of the ways that you yourself and other organizations are trying to bring relief?
That's been really tricky.
Mhm.
It's a key question. Uh,
Well, besides the conference, I think that the conference is obviously one of the ways that we're certainly
right. I mean,
trying to
that's
do
why
that.
we're doing it. That's why we're doing it, because, of course, many of the issues that we're bringing up at the conference and talking about at the conference are not just don't just happen during a pandemic, but they're pretty constant.
Yep.
And again, the communication, what do you do, and understanding the complexities of living with dementia, both from the person's point of view and from caregivers' point of view.
Yeah.
And so we'll be talking about that. And of course, with pandemic, because of the isolation, all that has been aggravated
Hmm.
and magnified. And so that's been hard. What at this point, basically my consulting business has come to a halt as of March 11. That was it. But I'm still in contact with a lot of people
Hmm.
because they need help and
Yeah.
they need support. And at this point, I can only give them support either over the phone or via email. And I hear that from almost everybody. They are One thing I'm trying to do is to help caregivers not take everything so seriously.
Mm.
It's not a lightweight topic at all. I'm not trying to suggest that,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? It's you don't let it burden yourself any more than it absolutely has to. Honey, I need to go let my dog in, or she's gonna
All right.
tear down the door. At least she's figured out how to knock.
And we're back. So you were talking uh, about how you are trying to work with people through a very serious topic and a difficult topic, but also help them to know when they might be taking things a little too seriously or burdening themselves too much.
And caregivers have a tendency often, I shouldn't generalize like this, but I hear this from people a little too often, is that they take responsibility for all the stuff that goes wrong. And I'm sorry, when you're a caregiver, stuff is going to go wrong, and it's not your fault most of the time. It
Mhm.
just happens.
Yeah.
Nobody can be perfect. It's impossible. And especially when you're up against this, you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So if you can just learn to just go with the flow. So what Ruth and I will both do actually is help people and we have a couple other people who are going to help along the same lines, help people understand how you can handle certain very typical situations without getting all stressed out and without getting your personal all stressed out.
Mhm.
And then how can you turn that into something positive, either by using humor, music, poetry, art, whatever.
Yeah.
And we cover it all in the conference, by the way, of
Yeah, we
course.
certainly are going to be covering a lot. So, one of the things that I really love about this conference as well is the fact that it's very simplistic and minimalist in its approach, and it's very grassroots oriented. And so I know what the answer is to this question, but tell folks what can they do? How can they go about registering for the conference in advance and getting information?
Okay. The name of the conference is Dementia Possibilities. We set up a website, which will keep going after the conference as well. And it's dementiapossibilities.com, all one word.
Mhm.
Go on to that, and on the very first page, the home page will tell you how to register. You're going to send me an email, and it'll say join, and that's all you have to do. That's it,
Mhm.
and we'll take it from there. Because
Perfect.
we're going to have to send you a lot of really fun stuff, links to various sessions and all of that. So we need your email, and this is the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, I love it. Like you don't have to go through it. You don't have to fill out a big registration form or anything like that.
Nope.
Excuse me. You don't have to
And
fill
it's
out a big.
free.
What's that?
It's free, Ken.
It's free too. Yeah, and you
It's
don't have
free.
to.
We have 12 experts giving you all of this stuff for free. We even have a legal expert. We have a medical doctor who has worked with dementia and hospice forever, and is wonderful. So I mean, there's going to be so much wonderful information for you, and it's free. We're
Yeah,
giving it to you.
absolutely. I'm sure hopefully folks can feel the love when it comes to us discussing those details. And it's just super simple. Just send an email and we will take care of the rest. We will send you all of the links that you need to click for the Zoom sessions, and we'll follow that up with archived content online that's available even after the fact. So I'm hopeful that a lot of these bits of knowledge are going to live online for years and years in order to impact more and more lives. But Jytte, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for bringing this group together. Really looking forward to the Dementia Possibilities Conference, and of course, more ways that you and I can partner together. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Thank you, Ken.